Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Ian, I'm your host. I'm here with David. We're just gonna go over some rookie mock drafts since everyone's doing those right now. The NFL draft just happened. It's a really exciting time right now.
Yes,
What do you
sir.
think, David?
I think it's fun. I've already done a few rookie drafts, really exciting stuff, getting to find guys you like. Like I've been aggressively targeting Lad McConkey and honestly Jalen Polk, but we'll get more into that in the draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of players. I had personally haven't done a rookie draft yet, but I know I'm super excited to. So I'll start with the 101, and in most superflex leagues, Caleb Williams is the easy 101. He was the first pick. He's got the value installation of being a quarterback. He has a bunch of weapons in his offense. I can't think of a time a number one pick has been thrown into this good of a situation as a
Crazy.
quarterback. It's pretty
Yeah.
rare.
He's gonna light it up next year for sure.
The only other option I think you could really consider is someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's been thrown out there as the next Julio, next AJ Green, just a really good wide receiver to start your franchise with. And yeah, I think I'll go with Caleb Williams at the 101.
Yeah, I agree there. Best place you can get him, and you get a franchise guy, someone who you know is gonna carry your fantasy team for a while.
You got the next pick.
And so, well, as Ian said, with the 202, I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. I feel like he just offers a floor that none of these other players can give you. And 202, honest to God, has to be the easiest spot to be in for like in the
You
last
mean
like 10 years.
102?
102, sorry. You get the person ahead of you gets to make the choice for you. You're either getting Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. Anything else, and you're just trying to be the smartest person in the room. Take the layup. Take the layup.
Yeah, they're the best two prospects for a reason. I feel like everyone's just been hearing this on repeat for so long, but they did get the situation we've been hoping for as Marr found himself on the Cardinals instead of like the Patriots. It's a better situation for him to be put in for sure.
Yeah.
At the 103, um, it's a tougher decision, but market value wise, I think I'm gonna have to take Jaden Daniels. He was the number two pick in the draft. He's got the value insulation of being a quarterback, and he's got rushing upside. You can see what someone like Anthony Richardson did in only 3 games, scored like 20 points a game, and people love him. And he only played like 3 games of football. If Jaden Daniels can do that for around a whole season, there's no telling where he'll be valued at around this time next year.
Definitely. He's got some huge upside. With the 104, I I really want to say Neighbors here. And I think Neighbors is really fun as a wide receiver prospect. I think he he's got the highest upside in the class in terms of wide receivers. He's just offering something that Marv doesn't, but his floor is considerably lower. Like high end, I could see Malik Neighbors being wide receiver one, but the low end is I could also see us not talking about him in 2 years because his route running isn't as refined as Marv. He's a lot more reliant on his receiving, or not his receiving, his elusivity. I think that's the biggest thing with him is that his route running looks so great because he's so fast and smooth. And I want to say Malik Neighbors here, but I think I'm just going to go Drake May because Drake May is, I would have taken him over Jaden Daniels personally. I'm a bigger believer in the talent. And I think getting the keys to a franchise in the Patriots, and people are shaky on that. But for me personally, it's a new team, new weapons. So I think I will go Drake May here.
For me, it's just the worry of having Terry McLaurin as your wide receiver one versus an unproven Jalen Polk. But I like Neighbors too. Steve Smith likes him, so he's got to be good.
Yeah, he's a fun player, and I think that we could easily be talking about him as one of the most coveted players in fantasy.
Since you and Drake May, I'll keep it simple. I'll just take Malik Neighbors at the 104. He's super talented. It is unfortunate he landed in the Giants offense with Daniel Jones and Drew Lock as a starting quarterback. Daniel Jones isn't horrible as a quarterback, though, and I think he can sustain a wide receiver one in Malik Neighbors, whereas we've seen these high end wide receivers go to even worse quarterbacks like Desmond Ritter with Drake May. He was a third rounder. He never really did show anything. Daniel Jones has made the playoffs and he has had moments. Hopefully, these moments can be a little bit better with Malik Neighbors. I'm just trying to be hopeful.
Yeah,
What are
I
your
think. Well,
thoughts?
yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, he's not fighting for the target. He's gonna get whatever he wants. And my only concern with Danny Dimes is it's a confidence thing with him for me. I used to love Danny Dimes. I'd beat on the Danny Dimes drums all day, but it feels like his confidence is shot, especially after all these years of just getting abused. And if he can make a bounce back, Neighbors has real upside. If not, he could be in a bad place. But either way, I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, now that Malik's off the board, the people in the top picks in the top 10 are Penix, which doesn't make sense. McCarthy, you got Odunze, you got Nix, Bowers. You could always look at a receiver, someone like Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Worthy. Um, I just went though, so it's
Yeah. Well, at the 105, I will be selecting Xavier Worthy. I think you can't make up this landing spot. Buffalo gave the Chiefs their new wide receiver one in the upcoming years. The problem with Worthy isn't his his skills. It's just is he going to be healthy enough to play in the league at 169? That's not a good weight for wide receivers, but we've seen people pull it off like Tank Dell, Devonta Smith, all those guys. Um,
yeah, guys with low BMIs, they can produce nowadays.
yeah, I think that his speed is going to be killer. He's gotten a lot of pieces around him now in Kansas City, which I think only helps someone like Xavier Worthy. You can't just focus on stopping him deep because if you do, you're going to get destroyed by Hollywood or Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, any of those guys.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I'm a bit shocked you would take him over someone like Romo Dunze, who's been viewed as a top three, or maybe some people really do believe he could be the best wide receiver in the class.
And looking at it now, I completely forgot he was on the board. So I guess you just got to steal. You just got to steal, Ian. You got the easiest layup in the whole pot.
Well, I guess at the 106, I'll just take Romo Dunze. Going to play with Caleb Williams. Um, that's funny. This is just a balk though, so who cares? He is super talented. Some people view him as the could be the best wide receiver. He is a true X, and that is what I will say. He wins jump balls, but he's more than that. Like Washington, I believe, had him returning punts. I went to a U of A against Washington game, and they tried to get Roma Odunze the ball as much as possible, whether it be in space or contest like throwing him a deep ball. But he's more than just like a one trick pony. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. No, I have a question for you then. Who do you think the addition of Roma Dunze is going to hurt more? Keenan Allen or DJ Moore?
Well, both, but I do think it would hurt DJ Moore more. It would hurt. DJ more significantly because he is an explosive receiver. It's hard to say though, because he also can be used in the run game. He can be used in the screen game or short passes. I see DJ Moore with a similar skill set to like Debo Samuel in a way sometimes where he can get the ball, run people over because he's like around 230 or 210, I believe, which is pretty big for a receiver that's only like 5'11 or 6 feet tall. So I think it would hurt DJ Moore more because Keenan Allen is a just going to be like a consistent guy that could just get consistent catches. But
Keenan's gonna,
I don't see any of them having that good of a season, to be honest.
yeah. I think what we're gonna wind up seeing personally is DJ Moore is gonna suffer from more of a yardage situation, but I think his efficiency is gonna go way up. Like
Yeah.
they're going to be able to use him in a way where you don't have to pepper him 14 targets a game because your second option is Darnell Mooney, money with two O's. Now you're
Yeah, he
able to
was
hit,
getting around a 30% target share some games, which is just crazy.
and this is what you want to see fantasy wise, but in real in the game, you you also do like to see people take a step back solely from the perspective of you're able to save them more and less injury risk. And I think we're going to see DJ Moore's yards per catch go up to something like 18, 17, up from 14 was it last year? So I think he's gonna have a good year for that.
Yeah, I think he'll be worked well in the short to mid game, which is his specialty. He can run. He's good at running deep and catching deep balls, but like watching him in the intermediate field is something special. So,
Mm-hmm. At 107, I am gonna go with someone like Brock Bowers right now. I think that's a pretty easy take right here. Despite I don't like the the situation he's going into. I mean, he's one of the greatest college football tight ends ever, if not the greatest. And I think that, you know, the situation isn't perfect because I don't think Gardner Minshew is going to be able to support two tight ends with him there and Michael Mayer. But if I had to pick one of those tight ends to lose out that battle, I'm going to pick Mayer every time. But having someone like Devontae Adams there, it's really going to help them. You know, they can't key in on Brock Bowers taking up the middle of the field, even sometimes going deep. And I mean, when Bowers gets the balls in his hand, he's a special player.
yeah, he's more like an H back type of. He's not even like really a tight end, but so well, like he is, but like I get what like I agree with what you're saying. They're going to be using him. That's why they would take him in the top 15. You wouldn't take another tight end if you weren't kind of throwing the ball more. So that's a great pick,
Yeah.
especially in your tight end premium
Oh,
formats.
and a tight end premium, I there's a real argument for him top three.
With the one oh you I'm 108. Okay. The 108, I will be taking JJ McCarthy, the quarterback that lands in, which is crazy because this is such a good situation. It might be the second best situation. Or would you say it's the best because of the coach with Kevin O'Connell?
I well, I'm gonna make it even more simple than that. It's the best because Justin Jefferson. You can throw him the ball whenever you want, and you feel secure in it. If it's not going to get picked off, it's you've got a good chance of throwing a completion right there, and he'll take it. He'll house it sometimes too. Like I love the situation for him. Aaron Jones. Can you imagine having that as your security blanket your first year in the league? This is a phenomenal situation. You know, you
That's
got
true. And Hawkinson will be coming back. You have a speedster like Addison, which I believe he do
first
that
round
Addison
receivers,
takes
Jordan
the
Addison.
biggest fantasy hit because he doesn't have some Kirk Cousins is great at hitting the deep ball. and that is
Hmm.
what helped Addison a lot. But Addison still was able to produce with quarterbacks like Nick Mullins and
To be fair, Nick Mullins was chucking that thing. He didn't care who was down there.
yeah,
Never a bad read with Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins, for anyone that really didn't watch, Nick Mullins was a gunslinger for all the games he was in. He was throwing picks. He could have won the last game of the season if he would have just thrown like further to Justin Jefferson, wide open touchdown. Would have won them the game, but or that no, it wasn't last week of the season. I think it was week 16. And but he was slinging it. It was better than when Dobbs and Jaron Hall were out there. That's for sure.
It
But I
was
think,
incredible to watch in my opinion.
yeah.
Just never a bad read with that man, for better or worse.
And so JJ McCarthy, he's someone who's viewed as like a toolsy quarterback. That's how Anthony Richardson was honestly viewed a couple of years ago when he was coming into the draft. So I could see this working out for the Vikings. You know, they have a great coaching staff. They have the best wide receiver in football, a top three tight end, uh, a really good defensive coach, and their defense really stepped it up last year. So if they can get it together, I think they can make some noise in their division, which has gotten a lot better now that the Bears aren't bad. The Packers are really good. The Lions are one of the best teams in the division or the whole NFC. So,
Yeah. Um, we're at 109, right?
yeah, sorry to go on a bit of a tangent there. So were these off the board? The big three
Um,
receivers, uh, the top three quarterbacks taken besides Penix. So Brian Thomas is on the board, Ladd, Keon Coleman, Pearsall, Leggett, Nix.
all right. So a player I actually really like right here, and I'm I'm torn between two players really right here. And this is actually an area where I think in most drafts you can trade back from this spot because let somebody else make the decision for you. You got players like in my league, we had people like Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey, Keon Coleman, and Brian Thomas all available right here. And I think the easiest thing to do is trade back because I mean all of those guys have good chances to hit, in my opinion. The one who I would say I like the least is Keon Coleman, but right here I was targeting Lad. But if you took Brian Thomas over Lad, I wouldn't question that because that's a terrific landing spot for Brian Thomas, and he's going to a spot where he's going to need those targets. He's going to be going deep a lot. So I think I would probably go Lad here solely because I don't think he's competing with anyone for targets. But Brian Thomas is also a great spot right here. And if Xavier Worthy's here, I'd probably take him out of all of them. But you can't go wrong with any of those guys over here.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of them. They're all going into, especially two top of the second round. Like go, it's hard to say like, oh, like that was a first round receiver. He should easily be going over a second rounder. But then you look at the landing spots and it's like it's a number one in the Chargers offense with John Harbaugh. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
the what could be the number one in the Bills offense, which we know can be explosive. So hard choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going Lad right here though.
Since you took Ladd, I'll just take Brian Thomas Jr. I think the way I am worried he's basket catch Brian for a reason. He doesn't really high point the ball as much as I'd like from watching him, watching some LSU games this year when I was trying to check out Jaden Daniels. Uh and he he could be some people see him as like a clear X in an offense, but I see the issues that could occur. But with Kirk, Christian Kirk taking away a lot of targets and being the slot, and him being, he's not going to play the Gabe Davis role. They already have a Gabe Davis, so that's
Mhm.
clear. And so I think he's a good pick here, but it does worry me. So I agree with totally. If you have a late first, trading back to the early second.
Wise is Xavier Legette's already going to be battling for some targets there because the Panthers did a great job improving this offseason. And Ricky Pearsall, I feel he's someone that's going to be easier to trade with after the year concludes. He's he's going to be that's somebody I would target at the end of the year versus now. So with the next pick, I'm going to go Keon Coleman. I mean, he's got Josh Allen throwing to him, and enough said.
I'll keep it simple. I'll take Xavier Legette. I've just been super high on him. I suggest no one else take him. He's literally had 1 year of production. He had like an accumulation of like 400 or 200 yards. I forgot which one of the two it was in 4 years of college. So if you don't take him, don't blame you. I will.
Um, I now right here, who I'm going to go with is actually, if you want to scroll up a little or scroll down a little,
Do you want me to go
Bo
to
Nix.
round two?
No,
Oh, round
round one.
one.
Yeah, I think even though I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan, he's got drafted top 15. And so, I mean, right here's the spot I'm comfortable taking him. And I think you're just playing the upside game with a pick like this, where if Bo Nix hits, he can be very solid. I have my questions about him. I don't think he's necessarily the most gifted quarterback, and the Broncos don't have the most weapons. So I think I would go right. I'm comfortable taking Bo Nix right here.
And I'll be skipping down a couple rounds. I'm going to be taking Jonathan Brooks,
I was
uh,
thinking about him earlier. Yeah.
first running back off the board. Goes to the Panthers. Very little competition. They paid Miles Sanders a bunch of money, and they totally regret it. So
Yeah.
I'm taking Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since we're on the second round, if you could scroll up a little, I I really like Jalen Polk. I think he's got some of the best hands in the class. He's going to a team where he's not going to have to compete with anybody outside of their fourth round pick, who Javon Baker, which I do like Javon Baker, but Polk was drafted 2 rounds higher, and I think that's going to show on his stats next year. He's got good hands, good quarterback. It's going to be fun to see what he does this upcoming year.
And I'll take Trey Benson here. He was a third rounder. I This is more of a pick for next year. I do not think he'll have immediate production unless James Conner gets hurt. Uh, as he's going to the Cardinals, where he's going to be splitting the backfield with James Conner. But I do see him as the lightning to James Conner's thunder, the same way the Lions did it last year with the David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Could totally see it working out where they play both of them. But this is more of a play for the future. James Conner's on the last year of his deal.
Yeah. Now, right here is a tricky
Ricky
spot in
Pearsall
my.
still on the board, but by the way,
Oh, let's. Yeah, I'm comfortable with taking Ricky Pearsall right here. Uh, get, good young wide receiver who I think, once again, I think you're not drafting him for this year. So if you do draft him, hold unless you get a good price for him. He's more of a next year receiver where that's when I think he'll look better once I mean, he just fits the mold of a Shanahan receiver. He's going to go in there, get into space, catch. He's got nice hands, good route running. Can't go wrong with him.
and
I know who you're going to.
I was just gonna show
Oh,
a little. So now that we've gone through like most of the draft, I wanted to show off my tier sheet. It's basically where I have everyone bucketed around. Um, and the only people left would be like Penix and Adonai Mitchell. And if we're going to be honest, only Adonai Mitchell was probably going to make a big difference to your fantasy team this year.
Yeah, he's.
Uh, there's a lot of good players left, but I just wanted to show you this because I haven't. What do you have any disagreements with any of the rankings, any of the spots?
I would probably looking at this. I
I
would
know you'd
flip
have
flop.
McConkey over Bowers and Leggett, but it's just first round draft
I
capital to me.
Yeah, no, no, no. I'm okay with having McConkey lower than Bowers. Uh, my actually first round problem is I would flip flop Worthy and JJ. I think Worthy's just got a fantastic landing spot, and I'd probably move. I would move BTJ back a little, but otherwise,
For me, it was either putting Xavier Worthy up there with them or moving JJ down, and I couldn't bring myself to move JJ down, so I just left it like this.
yeah. I
There's a lot of good prospects though, like
oh,
even down to the D tier, you have people like Troy Franklin and JT Sanders who could be valuable.
I was kept trading back on my drafts because I just thought a lot of these players are really talented. You're able to build up some draft capital, get some good players. And yeah, no, I think that there's going to be third round receivers, fourth round receivers coming out who we're like, how did this man get overlooked? And like
Yeah, people like Malachi Corley and Burton and Wilson.
Corley, Corley, I think he's got a really, really good chance to be like us. Be like, how is this guy not a top 15 player? You know, Malachi Corley is a phenomenal player.
That's an inside joke, just so people know. We know it's Malachi. Uh, and then you have Jalen McMillan, who was a third rounder, and he honestly, before the draft cycle, was viewed as better than Polk. Not saying that he is, because the NFL draft told us that the NFL views Polk one way and McMillan another, so they were around apart. But he just went to an unfortunate landing spot with the Bucks because he's behind Godwin and Evans. If one of them, well, if Godwin were to leave or get traded, I could see McMillan totally
Oh,
flipping.
Yeah, no, I like McMillan a lot too. Yeah, no, I think that this is a really talented class, and I'm excited to see what people like. Tez Walker to the Baltimore Ravens, phenomenal spot. I think that he's. I'm not really sure of the player himself, but that's also that spot is a great spot for a young receiver to go to. Baltimore is one of the best ran franchises in all of sports, in my opinion. The fact that they spent what was it, a fourth round pick on him?
Yeah, fourth.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot, and we could see them reap a lot of benefits from that.
Before you have to go, David, I just wanted to do a little segment with you based on your fantasy team. Uh, so this segment's going to be so
What
we're
was
going to
that?
be going. You can't drop that guy.
Oh yeah, let's
We're
go.
going to
I'm
be
ready for this.
over just some play because this is the time of year where people are dropping lots of players off their team to make room for rookies. We're just going to be going over certain players and explaining why, like, no, that I can't. This is why I can't drop that guy.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
So we'll just do one player each. So for you, I'm gonna have you for 2 minutes explain why, or just go on and explain why you cannot drop Hayden Hurst.
Oh, this is the easiest one. What? I thought you were gonna say
Oh,
Cameron
okay.
Two.
The Cameron Latou. Why can't you drop that guy?
Cameron Latou. First of all, third round draft capital for a player who converted the year prior to tight end is pretty good. And I mean, he was playing on one of the top schools in the nation, going out there, getting physical blocking, but he's also a sneaky receiver threat. And I just can't get enough of rookie tight ends. George Kittle's getting old. I think that Cameron Lattou's going to come out on my team, and I'm willing to start him next year if he gets a start here or there. I'm excited to start him personally. Uh, yeah, no, I love him. He's only rostered in 21% of the leagues, and unfortunately, he's all four. Like I have four of those spots on all my other teams. Uh, yeah, no, I'm excited to watch what this man does next year, and he's at a great spot with Kyle Shanahan, who's pretty solid drafter. Uh, yeah, no. And for you, Ian, the player I've been wanting to ask you about, what about Justin Fields, Ian? Can you please defend this pick to me? You know, he's a backup quarterback. Your quarterback room goes from CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, four starters, then you got a measly Justin Fields at the end of your bench. When there's other players who have a clearer path to starting than him on the waiver right now.
I thought you were gonna pick someone like Brandon Cooks, Traylon Burks, but this is easy. Justin Fields averaged 18 points last year. That's as much as CJ Stroud. Justin Fields is a rushing quarterback, and rushing quarterbacks are a cheat code in fantasy football. It's just the way they designed it. If you run, if you throw for 25 yards, you get the same amount of points as somebody that runs for 10 yards. It just doesn't make sense. So Justin Fields is an amazing runner. He's the and I personally believe he's going to be a Steelers starting quarterback by the end of the year. This is not the same Russell Wilson I grew up with. Okay.
I don't know. They built a nice little line around him. They had a great draft this year. I actually
The
liked it a lot.
Steelers did have a great draft.
Yeah,
It
they
is
shored up.
worrisome. Justin Fields was traded for a 6 round pick that could be a fourth if he plays over 50%. A fourth still isn't amazing for a starting quarterback.
Yeah,
So,
you think, hey, we want a first round pick for our starting quarterback, but Steelers spoke with their draft capital.
but why I can't drop Brandon Cooks is because he was scoring 15 points a game basically the back half of the season when Dallas was throwing it a lot. Dallas didn't pick up any running backs besides Zeke. They're going to be throwing it a lot. Everyone, if Brandon Cooks is on your waiver wire, go make sure to pick him up. It's going to be flexible.
Flexible. That is real question. Now, Cameron Lattou's available just, out of, if not for the team, for the memes. All right, guys.
Okay. Well, that's going to be it for the episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you did watch, like, comment, let us know what we could do differently or better. We're new to this, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.